Hello and welcome to Girl Awakening YouTube. I'm Jo Hendy.
And I'm Amanda Parker. Enjoy this episode of Girl Awakening in all of its vulnerable sacredness.
And remember to subscribe and share. Good morning, Amanda.
Good morning, Jo.
Here we are, another beautiful episode of Girl Awakening.
Yes.
An exciting guest from across the lake.
The lake, yes, or the ditch, or
ditch.
you know, as they call it sometimes, depending on what mood people are in.
Yeah.
The Tasman Sea.
Yes. How wonderful. How lucky we are to have.
Is it the Tasman? Oh.
I don't know, it doesn't matter.
It's
a body of water. We're just talking about labels and everything.
Yes.
It's a body of water.
And it's not very far away, and it's close to both our hearts.
Yeah.
My roots. We have a beautiful guest from New Zealand today, which is why we're here on Zoom, which is a lot of fun to be able to reach people around the planet.
Yeah.
So we'll introduce our guest today, Luciana, wife, mum, and unschooler of a beautiful son, Gabrielle, an energy healer and Instagram coach, social media account manager and content creator. In a previous life, BCBD, I've made up a term, it's actually pre-COVID. Luciana and her family were digital nomads and building a global community of like-minded souls. We're lovely to welcome you here today, Luciana. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I just want to add something to that too, is that Luciana and her amazing husband created our Pachamama. So for all of you guys out there that have been like in love with our Pachamamas, this is, you know, part of the creator right here. So lovely to have you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. And it was such a beautiful process to create Pachamama.
Yeah.
We went through it together, like, you know, every step. He would call me, what do you think of this one? And what do you think of this one? And then it was so magical. And, you know, we still have our, you know, the EI things is a little bit.
Yeah, it's a different world. Waking
up. But it just was magical and fun, and to co-create it all together. It was just like
it was an amazing experience. It really was such a true visionary 5D experience, because meeting Tim through yourself, and then, you know, the four of us will be able to co-create and be able to dive so deep, you know, with yourself and with Tim into what our Pachamama is,
and connecting with Narelle. Is it? Am I saying that correct? That was also very special for me, because I wasn't into the light code yet.
Yeah.
And that went like, oh, I got curious about that, and I started to, something got activated in me, and I started to get into it and singing this weird things and like and it's like, and now I'm all into it, and I think that was the spark. Yes,
that's all it takes. On that note, on the spark, Luciana, how did your awakening begin?
That's a big question. I would say, without going back since I was a child, because I believe I was this, like an energy healer since I was a little child, because I always feel deeply connected with nature, with ocean, especially. I wanted to be a marine biologist when I was very little. I wanted to be an artist. I wanted to be all the things that I'm actually redirecting myself after being broken many times by society, school, parents. And I don't blame anyone. Like, everyone was trying to do their best with what they knew at the time. Like my mother, she did what she did with love, but she couldn't quite understand me. So I was the child that wanted to do all the things, and the girl that wanted to learn all the things, and people would tell me like, why don't you just pick one thing and just go with it. And why can't you just be like your friend and get a normal job? Instead, I wanted to go and do all this different things, right? Like being a tourist entertainment in the village resort, and then stopping university and going and learn that, and trying sailing, and I was just all over the show, and they're trying to redirect me again and again and again. And I'm so happy that my spirit was really strong and kept like fighting until and this is where I come to the actual, I think the big spark happened in Murwillumbah.
Yes.
At the Hare Krishna community, which now is the yoga retreat. And that's when I met my husband, Tim.
Oh, wow.
Yes, it was. It was, He was a very pivotal, like, I just, when I went, I was unhappy to go. I just went because I needed to get my second visa to stay in Australia for longer.
Yeah.
And I said, and then I'm just going to do this 2 months, and then I'm going to go back to my normal life in the city. I was living in Melly, and, going for a surf, pretending to surf, just being cold, and nannying the most beautiful girl. I was so happy with my life, going to the pub, having a drink, like this. Just what do? You work, and you go for a drink, and and so when I arrived at the farm, I was so lost. But it took me like not even 2 weeks. The moment I put my hand back into the dirt to plant, so waking up with the sunrise and getting into the earth, I was like, oh, this is the normal life. Like, this is what I want to do. I grew up on a land when I was little, just being free and climbing tree and being nature, and then what I wanted to be with nature and being creative, and I just was so disconnected from myself for so long, and that moment, and then being in the spiritual practice and be surrounded with people that were always all of us there really were looking for an answer. I found out that like woofers, we were so different and yet so similar. And looking for our path. We were all a little bit kind of lost. And I feel like I got my direction from then. There was a lot more to learn, and to lots of struggle and challenge that followed that moment. But that when I was like, I found my spark back, and I say, anything is possible. I don't have to do what they told me to do. You don't have to go to school to get the job, to do like that's just a fixed society, like. And that was when I started to realize and finding myself back. Like I found my way back home, and Tim was a great support because was the same, like he was on the same page. And so together, the last 10 years, like next year we've been together for 10 years, and next year will be 10 years that we'll be married. For 10 years, this is what we've been doing.
Together,
It's so beautiful and so simple. When I hear about you say, when I put my hands in the ground, I'm realizing myself too that it's in the very simple things, like in the grounding with Mother Earth, that brings us home, and it's like we've made it so complicated over the years that it has to be something big and, deep and all that. And it can be as simple as, planting plants or walking in the rainforest or, swimming in the ocean. It's that grounding back into Mother Earth that brings you home. And we've over the years complicated it, and it's as simple as that.
Oh, complicated, and it's getting more and more complicated with all those devices that are selling now. Like, get this device to ground yourself, or Just go outside and feel the sun, go in the ocean, go in the river. I get, you know, if you live in a very busy city and you don't have access to a lot of nature, I get this can be useful, but I see how we're getting more and more lost in this, like,
it's the distraction.
It's like, just go outside, just plant your garden, plant a plant. If you don't have a garden, like, just go get a plant. It is simplifying. This is like one of the key things that I keep reminding myself. Keep it simple. Keep it simple.
Absolutely. So powerful, isn't it? That's a very powerful. And it's funny, there's a whole movement of, like, I can't remember who it is, but has written a book about getting grounded, and there's YouTube videos and things like that, and they're showing things as simple as walking outside in bare feet and not constantly being in our shoes. And it's funny to watch it, because there's a sense of skepticism when you first see it and go, oh, it can't be that simple to, you know, get your house back or to get calm, or, you know, but it really is simple.
And the amount of, I think I watched that movie, I'm pretty sure, I think it's called Grounded. The amount of energy that we get from Mother Earth, it's almost like we've lost sight of it, and we've given up on that. And, you know, it is really as simple as walking bare feet.
And the hands,
and it's so important, because, you know, it sounds a bit cliche, but we are electromagnetic. And we are the connection between the sun and the earth. If we stop going there, connecting those two reality, it's just like there is this big disconnection, which is what is actually happening. There's the disconnection. There's not the village anymore, so we are disconnected within our neighborhood. We live in our houses, and we don't have the village support anymore. I mean, you can build it, but it's not as it used to be. And so, like, everything is so disconnected. And so, because you can't go, just like, I cannot imagine anyone going around and going, hey, I feel disconnected, can you please be connected with me? Because it's a big things to do. And I am doing it, but because I am on a mission. But for some people can feel daunting. And so I feel like just connect with yourself and with Mother Nature first, to find that you are not alone, because we are not. We are supported by Mother Earth and held by the sky. You can just go and hug a tree. That makes me feel so happy. I've got my tree friend that I can see from my window. And I always go, before going for my walk on the beach, I always stop and say hi and how are you doing today? And even if people are around me, I hug it. I don't hold that back, because I want to show people that is normal. Like, you don't have to feel like you're a weirdo if you do these things, because that's what we see. Like, we see these people, you know, we call them hippie, hoo-hoo, or whatever, right? Like, but this is who we are. Like, this is what we used to do, dancing in the moonlight to get the energy from it, and swimming in sacred waters, and drinking sacred water, and all of this beautiful ritual that humanity has been doing for, you know, since the start of everything. And now this is weird. And so we don't do it anymore. If we do it, we hide. We do it in small circle. And so I go and hug the tree in front of everyone. Like, you call me weirdo, but maybe a kid will get inspired by me and do the same, you know? Raising the generation that is not disconnected. And this is what I'm doing with my son.
Beautiful. So how old were you, Luciana, when you went to the Hare Krishna community in Murwillumbah?
I don't remember how old I was. I remember it was the end of 2011. So if was, I'm not good at math.
You were younger than you are now.
You're not linear.
Much younger.
So when you felt this spark inside of you, you know, kind of ignite, what other things were you noticing that was happening around you, or what was happening around you or within you that you noticed the shift?
I was able to slow down. like sitting down and just drinking a cup of tea.
Mm.
Just like for me, it wasn't a thing before going there. It was just like, keep going, do. I was always in my doing, never in my being.
Mm.
And at the farm, I found that I could be.
Yeah.
Just like, because I had nowhere to go, nothing to do after my 4 hours of volunteering job. And so I needed to find, actually, I was quite like, what am I doing? What am I going to do now? So I would do like at the beginning, like exercise or do something. And then I was like, I can just rest.
Yeah.
So I started to rest.
Wow, that's interesting because it's almost like a bubble too. Being in that bubble makes it a little bit easier. So how long were you there for? And like when you and Tim, did you and Tim decide to leave there together, or were you there for a long time, or how, was it?
I was gonna stay for 2 months, get my visa and get back. But then I was so happy that I stay. Oh, I stay 1 more month. Oh, I stay 1 more month. And I ended up staying for about 6 months.
Okay.
Beautiful.
And I only left because I had my ticket back to go back to Italy. Because I had a return ticket. And I said, oh, but I've been away for 1 year from my home. I'm going to go back because I paid for this already.
Yeah.
And eventually I'm going to come back. But meanwhile, during the 6 months, me and Tim fell in love, planting and creating the garden. It was so romantic.
The alchemy of nature gathered you together.
Yeah. And so he said, oh, I might come too. So I can meet your family, because he already decided he was going to marry me. Like, we're together for like a month or two or something. I don't even remember. And so I was like, are you sure you want to come all the way to Italy? Like, I'm coming back. And he wasn't sure that I was going to come back because he could already see my...
Yeah.
So now I'm coming. And so he came, and before coming back to Italy, we booked the ticket back to New Zealand to make sure that we stay on our path. Like,
that's a good
and
idea.
so there was already the plan was to go back and travel New Zealand together. And I lost my point. What was the question?
Yeah, so you left after 6 months to go back to Italy, and you left the bubble basically of what the community was about. And she's frozen. Yeah. Can you still?
Yeah, 6 months. Yeah, I was for 6 months. And it was like we decided to leave the community together. We were done.
Yeah. So when you left, when you left, I think what I'm trying to ask is, did you notice a shift in your thoughts about the world when you moved out of that kind of community? Yeah. So what kind of things did you notice, or were you?
Oh man, it was like so traumatic. It was so traumatic. Like we live. It's so wrong the way we live. It's just like, it's rushed, it's fast, it's disconnected, it's materialistic. It's I had a moment of like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I just want to go back there. I was gonna go and hide forever in the community, but then so we thought about back and forward, shall we go back there, shall we but eventually we got pregnant. Unexpectedly. And we were like faced with this huge challenge because we were woofer, we had no job, like we were like traveling around woofing and and then you're gonna be a mom in 9 months and you're gonna be a dad with this person that you've known only for about 6 months and only together for 3, and you don't know his family, doesn't know your family. You're gonna go to New Zealand that you've never been there. And it was like insane. That was another like big awakening. Like,
because that in itself is a people question. Oh, you've only known each other that long. How can you trust each other? What do you really know about each other? It's not conforming to there's no time there for people to really go, oh, that's okay.
To make them feel comfortable.
I decided to trust it was going to be okay. Like, because, for a moment, the thought of like, should I keep the baby? I don't know this guy. What am I going to do? Like, I have that moment and I was like, no, I'm big enough to, like I could have avoided this, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
so this is gonna be okay. Like, I trusted him. I never for a moment thought that he was gonna be a bad partner or dead. I just like, but there was so much unknown. Didn't know New Zealand, didn't know his family. I just like, I just trusted. This is,
and it's almost it's almost like where you come from was preparing you for that moment. So you you were there, and you were, you know, grounding yourself, and you were coming back more into you and finding you, and then you kind of left, and then all of this stuff happened. But it was almost like that was all preparing you for that moment.
When your son said, I want to join
come
you.
in, yeah. I like what she's doing. I'm coming in.
Yes. Yes, it was an intense ride, but we made it through. I'm not going to go into details because it's been intense. I'm just going to say that. But we did it. Yeah. And I'm so happy that we hold on strong together, and we are on the other side of that, and we have built this beautiful life. Yeah. We overcome all the blocks and the obstacle that people put in front of us, like, you shouldn't be doing like this because he needs to go to school, or blah blah. You need to have just get a normal job. Just put him in school. You know, you're struggling because you have him. You know, you need to do. This is why school are here, so you can da 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 da. I say, I know, but I don't want to do it again. Like, as you know, I have this vision, and we really have to fight for it. It wasn't easy to be where we are right now, in a comfortable situation where we can unschool and both work from home. It didn't just went like, okay, easy. It was so hard to get here. I wouldn't say hard. It was challenging. You know, we had to stand very strong in our truth, and feel our instinct. You know, believe in our our instinct and our heart, and
because you think you have a vision, and so like you're saying, to trust in yourselves and what that vision is. And every day have those questions around
stopping the noise. And like, you know how they say, if you want to manifest something, don't think about idea, but how do I do this, how do I do this? Just focus on your picture, your desire, your vision, and trust that you will find a way to get there. And yes, that's what we did for when we had to organize our full travel time as a family. I was also the same. We first had the vision and meditate on it, do like manifesting. We did vision boarding before getting to, okay, now let's break step by step. Because then eventually you gotta get practical, like we have to book tickets and things. But before that, we grounded our desire and vision in something bigger than just our mind, like just
part of the growth in that is, you know, this part where people, you know, that love and care for you, they think that their vision themselves is they're helping you, but what most of the time what they're trying to share with you is how they have done it, or how they feel would be the best way, or, you know, it's most of the time it's not about your.
And something that really helped me during this, because, you know, I love my mom and I love my family that was trying to do the best for me. I'm not saying they did it because they want to break me, like, but I saw, you know, you need to do this, you know, this is what we did. And I thought to myself, and I don't like the life.
That's like, what I mean.
I don't want to do exactly. This is why exactly what I'm not doing it. Because I don't want to end up doing what you guys are doing.
For me, when I became a parent, it was diving. I think a lot of people probably can identify where you step into that journey of where you make really committed choices to how you want to bring up your children, and they're either from your own heart or can be heavily influenced by others, by repeating your own journey with, you know, how you grew up and things like that. you know, sometimes taking the good bits out, or, you know, the good bits, or, you know, the things that resonated. It's really a time in your life where you
discernment,
yeah, to be strong for your child is where you might not have been strong for yourself and your own, and that's what I'm hearing.
When you become a mom, I have a beautiful client that's like talks about matrescence, the transition between womanhood and motherhood. And you put on the motherhood glasses, the matrescence glasses, and you see everything in a different way. And I guess those glasses change very often, because then it's always a transformation. You know, we transform so fast, and you see things like, oh, I didn't notice this. Like, now I see this differently, and
so true.
And that's what we do. We change and we evolve, and it's the beauty of life, while we're trying to, but let's say society or whatever, you know, the normal, the standard. They want us like to be the same, doing the same job for your whole life, the routine, and the rat,
the hamster wheel,
the rat race.
So you're like busy, don't get distracted, so you can't go like, oh, but there's also this, but there's also this, oh, we're limitless beings. Doesn't have to be this way. There's someone that doesn't want us to be limitless being, that's for sure. I do believe that.
Well, isn't that the fight that's on at the moment on the planet? That's the whole thing, you know. It's like, do we want to be distracted and keep hammering away at this rat race or hamster wheel, or do we want to listen to ourselves and our own truth and go our own way? That's the fight. That's the whole fight. Interesting.
And be able to support ourselves in the way that we want to live or choose to be, or you know, it seems to be such a fragile space to move into, but really it's the most amazing space to move into.
And this last 2 years have been so powerful. I actually, you know, as much as was hard, and especially not so much, we did well because we already were set up, you know, working from home and homeschooling. And so like when everyone was like, oh, the kids now are always at home and now we have to work from home, we were like,
yay,
this is just normal, except we couldn't see many friends, like, because at the beginning everyone was like staying in the bubble, you know, like we were like a bit isolated. But we actually enjoyed to slow down a bit, because we were always like going everywhere, changing houses and packing, unpacking. Like we were like, okay, let's rest, you know. It's like I enjoyed that slowness, like at the beginning when we all stopped. I loved it so much. In Italy there were dolphin back in the canal in Venice.
Oh, that's right. I did hear about that.
I just liked it so much, and it was such a beautiful I was like, oh wow, look how fast nature can rise back. And so it happened so fast, it gave me hope. Gave me hope, like it is possible to turn things very quickly if we all do it together. Like it was so beautiful. And then there was so much time for growth, and the energy was so strong. I just like I enjoyed it. Like I had a moment of like panicking and like what's happening, you know, like, but then I flipped it back and I actually loved it. I loved the awakening that brought, and I found a lot of my people, because everything was so obvious, you know. There was a big, they call it the big division, but I didn't see it as a big division. I just saw it as, oh, you are this, you know, you think this and I think this, and that's cool, good to know, you know. Like it's kind of like it was a very quick and powerful
lifting of the veil, wasn't it? Yeah,
lifting of the veil. Like, I never felt,
yeah,
I never felt as a division. I never felt divided from anyone. I never went like, oh, you think this, I'm not going to be friend with you anymore, you know, like that. So I just was a clarifying and powerful awakening of humanity, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's like, because with us with Girl Awakening and people sharing their awakening stories and the community that is around that, there's so many people in the same space of there's like that definite timeline of that was then, this is now, and finding that time of the world just like turning upside down was such a freedom space, and kind of like a affirming space as well, of like, oh, well, this is kind of what serves me better, if we can just get rid of all this distraction and noise. We're going in the right way. And like when you were saying about the dolphins coming back into the canals in Venice and the waterways, and you know, smog clearing in countries that have been heavily polluted because of the traffic. Whatever you believe about climate change, and you know, that in itself is kind of a distraction in the story, because so many people feel disheartened and lost hope because of what we're doing to the planet.
Yes.
And when you see that renewal process, as you say, coming back and so quickly, you realize that there is hope, there is, you know, every reason to do good things every day, to look after ourselves, our home, our environment, because of how resilient we all are, and how resilient our planet is. Yeah.
And it's like going back to simplifying, like everyone wants to, but you know, I can't make the difference because there's so much, but actually it did make the difference, like because each and every one of us can make the difference, even if it's just in your neighborhood, or it starts like that, like we every drop, it makes the entire ocean, and we are all the drops, and together we can make a difference. Like,
speaking of the ocean, on your socials, and again with the work that you and your husband do together, you have incredible affinity for the ocean and some most amazing like whale tails and things like that. I know you draw on that a lot to share meaning and inspiration, and you know, content around your work as well. But I just really want to share, because part of like that journey from when you and Tim came together, and then your beautiful son joined you, and the choice you've made around the unschooling. You shared a beautiful post the other day around the unschooling. I'm just going to read a little bit, so I'll just show everybody the beautiful image that goes with it, just to, it's amazing. And you've written, as the Wayfarer family, picture this: a world filled with time and space to move and play in any way you wish, like a mischievous rebel, setting your spirit free and unleashing your true potential. You have no rigid schedule drawing you from what you love, doing towards things that are spirit crushing and dull. Imagine stepping into a fantastical playground where you call the shots and your imagination runs wild with the possibility, ready to unleash each new day. Your friends don't see you as an outsider, as uncool or weird. You are not measured by your social status or your knowledge of the latest trends on social media. They see you as unique, interesting, different, and possessing something new and wonderful to share with them. As an unschooler, this is pretty much how it goes. And there's more there, but I think, it's a very concise summary of what you talked about so far, about how you are as a person. A little bit of a rebel, going your own way. But isn't it funny how like there's like we question ourselves for being in that place, and it takes certain steps to come to that awakening of realizing that this is who I am, and then start blossoming and having power in that voice.
And there is nothing wrong with me.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with you. Yeah.
That's a big one.
It took me this many years, like literally, to decide that I'm not crazy, broken, wrong. I always thought, even up till I think it was about when I discovered to be about human design, and I discovered I am a manifesto generator.
Yeah.
Manifesting generator, whatever it's called. I'm like, oh, I'm not broken. Like, I'm not crazy, because like I am supposed, like I've changed it so many jobs in my life. Like, I want to be a marine biologist. I want to be a vet. I want to be an artist. I want to be this. I want to be that. And then I was obsessed with like tourist, the village resort, and I was a sailing teacher there, and then entertainment stuff, and then I've been a sailing teacher, gymnastic teacher, English teacher in Italy, customer service. Oh my God, I can't even remember. I worked for like a pharmaceutical for a moment. Like I was a security officer for like a big pharmaceutical company. I was so unhappy. Like they couldn't be like more disaligned. And it was a really good job. Right after my degree, I got my degree. The day after I was working in this big company, and I could have had an amazing career there.
Yeah.
Because they really liked me, and they told me, I was like, oh, I'm leaving. And they said, Lou, why are you doing this? I just don't like it here.
How wonderful that you were conscious enough to go. It's almost like you were just clearing out layers, you know, to find who you really are.
At the time, I feel super bad and guilty because, you know, my mom would go like, why are you doing this? What are you going to do? And people would be questioning my choice, telling me that I was crazy to leave that job for this other silly job in the resorts. But it just made me so happy at the time. And I just felt like I want to have that experience. And anyway, and again, like recently, like, you know, I got this, I've got good work coming with like Instagram management and Instagram coaching and all the thing Instagram. I became the Instagram coach, you know, like people give you a title. And I'm like, and then while I was doing this, I discovered this energy healing thing. And I mean, I knew about energy healing, but I didn't think I could be an energy, you know, like other people are energy healer, not me.
Yeah.
And then I got in, you just interview Sarah, that's how I studied with her.
Yeah.
So she was my healer. And then on the way, I was like, can you teach me? Like, I feel this so strong.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I can't, because now I'm doing that and people won't take me seriously if I now add also this, you know, keep changing. But manifesting generator are supposed to pivot, are supposed to go with the flow and change career often and have more ideas. And it is not that I was crazy, like it's just this way. And the moment I flip that, you know, that I can totally do this, and this is actually how I should be doing it, not resisting it, because it's my nature.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, oh, am I studying feng shui or human design? You know, like I'm already like on the next.
Keep going.
You know, like I did establish my Instagram business, and now the energy healing is going quite well because I blend it together.
Oh, I was just about to say that. You can bring in all aspects of all those
things. It's so
Yeah.
beautiful. At the beginning, I was like, oh, it was going to sound weird, but actually it's working so well because the people that come to me to learn about Instagram, then they come to this blog, like I'm afraid to show up on video. I have got content writing blogs, and we can clear and hear all of that stuff. And it works really well. And now I'm like, I started painting again because like, okay, it's okay, I didn't go to art school. I'm still good at, I still love it, and I'm gonna do it. And so now I'm like, oh, I can do healing art, blending with the energy healing. And I'm just going with all this idea and with the flow without going like, I can't change again. This is too, you know, like, and it's so liberating.
I was just about to say, I can feel that when you're saying it, and I can feel that a lot of our listeners will that will just like literally activate something around freeing yourself out of limiting ways and labels and boxes, and you know, you don't have to be the one thing, you know.
Yeah, and I want us to spread it. Like this is my mission. I wish for everyone to discover that.
Yeah.
Like people come to me like really like, okay, what is the strategy? What is the best things for, you know, even the Instagram thing, like they get stuck into the Instagram coach told me to do this. And please don't do it. You need to do what works for you, because if you do a strategy, they will say, oh, my perfect proof strategy, blah, 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 that's gonna bring you this many followers. That is BS.
Yeah.
That is not a perfect strategy. Something that worked for one person, for one business, it might not work for you. Like it's impossible. We are so different. We're so unique.
Yeah. Well, we're quantum beings, you know, we're quantum energy. We have layers, multiple layers, and we're constantly evolving and growing. As soon as we stay one way, then you're basically in the shit.
What
it's dead. You know, it's just like, it's not fun. And you know, like, of course I don't like coach anyone. The person that is like into niche, into strategies, into do the thing, is not gonna come and coach with me.
Yeah,
of course I attract people that resonate with my energy, and all my clients are all like spiritual coaches, energy healer, and my main value, you know, I don't work with people that are not aligned with my values,
which is a powerful,
I'm not gonna, you know,
powerful, it's
support
very
someone that is doing something that is not okay for the planet. Or
that's amazing. Yeah, to make those conscious choices.
Yeah,
because you kind of like, by creating those healthy boundaries, and creating like a spiritual business that serves you, and having that creative space, you allow yourself to, like you were saying before we started, when we were chatting at the beginning, not have those labels or those boxes that you're sitting in. And
I can't fit in a box.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I can't hear you.
I'm
really from the heart. I can't hear you.
That's the word.
You know what? As beings, I don't think anyone in their right mind likes being in a box. You know, we all want to shift and change. We all want people to see us in a new way every time we see each other. You know, imagine being surrounded by people that are just allowing you the space to be whoever you are every day, each moment. A new person, you know, not even, I know I have the conversation with Amanda a lot. You know, sometimes I can be quite a private person because I don't want to share too much about myself, because I don't want people to judge me, you know, and hold me in that space. I want to be evolving and new and spontaneous and fresh and free in each moment. And that's what I'm getting with you. I'm really resonating with what you're saying, because I can feel that freedom in what you're saying. It's really beautiful.
Because, you know, sometimes we want to be
safe.
This
is one of the
main... different from being in a box.
Yeah.
Being in a box is not necessarily safe. That can be quite traumatic. Yeah.
And this is why my son is unschooled, because I feel that school is the first step of getting used to be put in a box.
Yep.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you,
but you're just paused. The video's paused, but we can hear you. Yeah.
It's back now. Yeah.
Okay. Because you were like frozen for a moment. I couldn't see you guys.
Sorry.
It's cool. You get put in a box. You get taught the same things in the same way. So everyone get told the same subject in the same way.
Yeah.
And it's just not. It doesn't fit with my view of how we are all unique, and we have our genius and Zona's geniuses, and we might like one thing but not the other thing, and it's not necessary to learn all the things. This is why books are there. We don't need to hold all this information. We have books. And this is Einstein said that, not me. And so plus, you are in a space from this time, it's getting used to the 9 to 5 routine and the separation. It's okay to be separated. The wife goes to work, the kid goes to school, the husband goes, and then you see each other for this tiny amount of time in the evening when you're exhausted. You don't have energy for each other anymore, and that doesn't make any sense in my head. And I understand that some people don't have a choice, and I'm happy for those people. I don't judge people that go to school, because I get it. It's not an easy decision to unschool, and not everyone can do it. Or not everyone want to do it, because again, we're all different, and some kids are really happy in school, and that's fine. But for us, it just wouldn't work. Gabriel didn't like it. It's a very different kid, and I didn't want him to be labeled, and he's just thrive in the unschooled community with all the different kids that are in it. And I couldn't explain it better as Tim described it in the post that you just read before.
So it's so amazing. So, and
I wanted him to be free, free, because I didn't want him to get done. I don't want him to witness to go through what I've gone through. It was painful. I didn't like one day of school, not one.
It's a lot of days.
And it's a lot of days. There's a lot of trauma, and I didn't want to do that to him, and it was the same for my husband Tim. And so we decided, we guessed most likely it's going to be the same for Gabriel. You can see it already. How can we do this differently? And we couldn't be happier. Like, he couldn't be happier. Like, he's 9, he's writing a book.
Wow.
He wrote several books already, little book, when he was, he started when he was 3. He will tell us, and we will write it for him. And now he's writing his own book, and it's like, maybe I can sell it. He's already like,
he's going to be a 12-year-old author, published author.
You have, because when you are raised this way, you have all this time and space to really dig into what are your passion and your real interest, rather than, okay, now I'm gonna learn this, and now I'm gonna learn this. And learning is so boring because you are learning something that you're really not interested in. Like, for many, he wanted to learn to read and write when he was very, very little. He started asking me, but he wasn't interested in math until last year. And my internet will go like, maybe you're doing something wrong. Maybe you should be, at this age, you should be able to do this, because this, and you self-doubt yourself for a moment. And then the next day is like, how do you do this plus this, and he get into it so fast because he's interested, and he learns in 1 hour what you would have had to, what would happen in months, because we have to do this, and he's like, I don't want to do this, it's such a different
it is. It's the freedom, the
dynamic,
and allowing him to come in his own time.
And it's interesting when you look at, when we've talked a few times around labels and boxes, when you look at labels such as ADD and ADHD and now the language that is there around neurodivergency, and the realization that actually we're all neurodivergent, neuro mono is a created concept, and we're all trying to fit into the neuromono, and it's a lot of trauma, a lot of stress, and some of us are better at being more trained or accepting than others, and it can be very traumatic trying to fit into that stream of thought when your whole being is wired to be functioning in a different space. So to be an unschooler and recognizing that is very serving of yourself, but also of your son, and you know, that process of what it brings all of you. Yeah, of being who you are. It's very powerful. Yeah,
it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. But I want to actually bring it back to you.
Yeah, even though it is about you, because you get to learn stuff too. I
Absolutely,
imagine.
absolutely. It's so beautiful. I want to ask, was there anything that you had to give up when you started to wake up and realize things weren't the way you thought, and you know, you were breaking down all the barriers and the labels and everything? Was there anything that you had to give up in there while this was happening?
Not really. I wouldn't say give up, but things just fell
away
out on my like kind of naturally. Like you will see it, like a mom that has a lot of freedom during the day because the kids are at school. They will have to give up all of that time.
Yes, right.
Because when your kids are home 24/7, you don't have all of that space. And we gave up that from the start because that was what we wanted to do. And sometimes it feels really daunting.
Yeah.
Like when we have a lot of work and we feel like we don't know how to fit Gabriel into the day.
Yeah.
That was, if you want to call it, a sacrifice that we were ready to face. Like that's what our decision. And so it doesn't mean that sometimes it still feels hard.
Yeah.
But that's what we signed up for. Like, but like a lot of the things that I used to love, they just didn't appeal me anymore. Like, I used to be, like, for doing a silly example, when I was in my 20s, I was coming from Italy. I really like fashion.
Yeah.
And so I had like very expensive clothes and brand clothes, and I would go do my nail all the time. Like I was very fancy. Like at the time, you wouldn't even believe it. Like I got proofs and pictures. But that I didn't give up on it. I just didn't care anymore.
Yeah.
I just was like, I couldn't care the least. Plus, I don't want to support those big brands doing you know. It was just a shift of, I guess, if you want to call it, shift of consciousness. What I'm feeling at the moment, because I've had so many upgrades in the last period, like this 2023, the 6 months have been insane for me. And I feel almost like, you know, when at the video game you go to the next level.
Yes. I'm hearing you. Yes.
I feel like this. I almost feel I used to play Super Mario when I was little.
Yeah.
And I almost hear the noise.
It actually sounds like that. Yeah, it actually sounds like that. Seriously.
Like just recently, I had a big, like last year, I had a big Lemurian awakening. And like a week ago or a month ago, I don't even know anymore. Time has been a blur in my world. And I had this light code activation, and I started to sing those tunes. It is just, I can't even describe it with words. Like, but you know, if I have to describe it in a 3D way, it's like going up a level in your video game.
Yeah. It's funny, this whole Lemuria
especially
thing.
the lights.
Sorry,
you go.
I was just going to say this Lemuria thing that just for our listeners too, when people talk about that, what it is it's like isn't it like a continent that was here like hundreds of years ago that a lot of us are from in different forms?
Yeah, I don't know the specific. I don't know exactly like what happened to Lemuria, to Atlantis, to you know, this ancient civilization. I don't know the details. I just feel a strong connection. With it.
Also, what it comes down to is that change in frequency is like that is happening that in the
tapping into
in the cosmic space, in the quantum space. and the light energy that's coming in is all this ancient energy is reactivating, and we're reconnecting with that cellular memory in ourselves of these previous knowings, previous times. And so that would have felt quite, did it feel a bit disorientating, or did it feel really like exciting? Where'd you go with that?
No, I was so excited when I discovered about Mu, and when I discovered, because I always been so obsessed with the ocean and with the whales, and I just couldn't quite understand, like, why this big, they are beautiful, of course, but like I am like literally obsessed. I watch videos and study behavior of whales, orcas, sharks, like I'm just like so passionate about it. And then I come across this post randomly about Lemuria on a day that someone, I met this person at the park, and randomly we talk, and then she was like, I think you are from Lemuria, you got some like,
oh wow,
she was already, she's quite activated. And I was like, what is it? So you don't know? Because this is why, because I say I feel more at home in New Zealand than in Italy. And she told me, because you are from Lemuria, and this is like New Zealand is on it, like it's part of it. And because then this person that is on all this stuff, he told me that I got past life as a mermaid, as an Atlantis being, and Lemurian being, and here is the place. This is why I try to go back to Italy, and I always want to go back here.
Beautiful.
And probably why in the first place I decided that day to go to Australia on my own. That was like a random thing that I did.
Yeah.
Not so random now that I think back. And and
then
the day that I talked with the day that I talked with this person that told me all the stuff about Lemuria and Atlantis, and I was like, so it is real? Because in my head I always loved it so bad about Atlantis and stuff, but I thought it was all a legend. And she was like, no, it's all real. Go and check stuff, blah blah. And I started digging into it, and then that day, randomly on Instagram, a person that I super love, she's got a crystal shop in Byron Bay. She posted about Lemuria that day, like, and I was like, okay, I need to dig into this. And the moment I dig into that, my dreams and my vision and my feeling, it just like, it was a huge aha moment. Again, coming back home again and discovering more of myself and connecting more deeper than ever. I say, now I see why I am so obsessed. And plus, like, I got, since I've been living on this beach 3 years, I've seen the orca 3 times passing by. And people are like, you're so lucky. Like, I've been living here my whole life. I've never seen them once. Like, and one time I was in the water, and they were like right there, and I was like, okay, that is a bit too close. And I went like I went out the water, like, because the orca was right there, and I saw the fin at the beginning, so I didn't know. I said, okay, let's get out of the water. But like, it's almost like they come when I'm there. You know what I mean? It's like, and I feel like it's a spirit animal trying to communicate with me. And then I dream about this wolf, this huge wolf in my dream. And I discovered that the orca are the wolf of the ocean.
Beautiful.
Amazing.
Wow. And that feels lovely.
And so, because I couldn't quite get the, And so, and then like, this, oh man, this is like, it's a big, I could talk about this for like another hour.
You can feel the energy, just like the activation of your energy. It's so like you're talking about living on the ocean and what being by the water does for you, Luciana. What do you do to support yourself for staying in the moment? Because, being a teaching parent and a business person as a label, there's a lot going on there. What do you do to support yourself and create time to sustain you?
Yes. Okay, so what do I do is my practice. Daily practice, like every morning I'll wake up and I'll do meditation or healing practice or listening to this, you know, whichever. I don't have a specific, but like every morning the first thing I do is having a moment, not just like go. If I rush into the day, it's a disaster.
Yeah.
You know, like you go into the rush. Yeah. So I really have, even if I wake up late, I don't compromise that. Even if it's like 10 minutes, I have to do that. And I'll do a little workout with my husband every morning. We work out together.
Nice.
Exercise. I try to eat as healthy as possible. I'm not perfect whatsoever. Like I made a pavlova for the team for Teacher Day. Yeah, but you know, normally we try to eat healthy, buy organic vegetable, growing some vegetable, and have a healthy food most of the time, and healthy diet, I'll say. It's not a diet. I don't like the word diet. And every single day I go to the ocean. That's my main anchor. Like, even if during the day I feel like something is off and I'm can't focus or it's too much, I just go to the ocean and I have a big walk. And sometimes I sing to the ocean. Sometimes I just sit there and watch the sparkle. I love the sparkles on the ocean.
Yeah.
It is the most beautiful thing ever for me. And that's what I do. Like, I think this is what has kept me sane in this year that I've been building up my business and spending endless hours on the screen. The daily walk by ocean has been just best.
Amazing.
Regenerating.
I have to ask, have you seen the movie The Whale Rider? I feel silly even asking because I feel like you have.
No, I've heard about it and I looked at it and I say, we have to watch this movie, but we haven't yet.
Wow. I think you'll really resonate with it.
Because it's a New Zealand film.
It's a New Zealand film,
Yeah. I totally know the film and I still want to see it, but I keep forgetting for some reason. Probably because I'm going to cry so bad.
Yes, get the tissues ready. It's so beautiful. But I think you'll resonate with it. Very, very much.
I just really love the way that you're weaving through, like, your daily practice and your spiritual flow into your business world, because like the digital world isn't an easy world to be in your truth. And as you say, you're building your community. People come to you because you're expressing yourself as yourself. You find that challenging some days, or is it something that you're finding, as like with these, the more you trust in being yourself and these activations like around the Lemuria space and your intuition, it gets stronger, you finding it easier?
Yes. I used to find it very challenging when I used to take any client on board. And it was hard because I couldn't express myself, and I would have to spend time on their account. And that was hard because if people are not in alignment, they will be following people that are not in alignment with you, and that will trigger you a lot. And it was really hard. And then I started to let go of the unaligned clients, and things got a lot easier. Again, like the main thread since the Hare Krishna days has been trust. Because again, when you have to let go of clients, it means you let go income and you don't know how you're going to do it. But I trusted and making space, working in the right people.
Beautiful.
And it happens, and it just happens. Like not in the time that you think, because, you know, it's not like, okay, I did it, universe, come on.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
yeah.
But it's so much easier. And I still find some days challenging, because some days I really don't want to be on the screen. I just want to go all day at the ocean and be in the garden. But you got to get stuff done. But it's not as it's not as challenging it used to be, getting stuff done for someone that you don't believe in what they're doing, or like bumping into this stuff that is really like, that is so annoying, you know, I don't want to sit, you know, this is really triggering me. Anger or frustration or whatever, you know, like there is like a challenging part of the job is like, I still find myself sometimes comparing myself with other people on social media. That sometimes still comes up, you know, like, oh, she's doing so well because da 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 da, and I'm like, I cannot do that because I'm da 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 da. You know, it's like, it is not an easy world to navigate. This is why I need a ton of grounding. Stay grounded. Because it is what it is. It's not the most, you know, healthy. And this is actually my statement, my value statement in my business is like, I honor real connection. And I work with like aligned human being that, you know, like are real, you know, willing to create a real relationship. I don't want to be client that are, you know, like this cold kind of relationship. I don't like that. I'm not here just to get the job done for you and get your money at the end of the month. You know, I function like that. And I want to work with people that think like me.
I think that's just life. I think we're getting a lot more clearer and
are making a difference in the world.
Beautiful.
I think that's just the way we are moving into in just our lives, not just our workspace or any of that. I think it's, you know, as beings, we're becoming a lot more discerning in who we want to spend our precious time with.
And it's a powerful medium, digital, the social media. Are you still with us, Luciana? I think we might have lost Luciana, listeners. We'll just pause for a moment. We will.
Yeah.
Oh, no, here she is.
You guys
she's still there. We might just jump on to the last question.
I just want to mention one little thing before we go into that space, because I was just saying it's a very powerful medium, the digital platform.
I can't see.
We can, you've just came back.
You're back now. You're back now. Everything went black. Hi.
We were just saying, like, with the digital platform, like we had another guest who was in the TikTok space, and she's navigating, sharing a very positive message there around, you know, being empowered and self-love and care. And I think it's very necessary that, because there's an overwhelming amount of the opposite that can be very crushing to our spirits and sense of who we are in the digital platform, like people like yourself are working consciously and, you know, staying true to your heart of what serves you and what your passion is and what your mission is, as you've said. It's creating quite a, you know, it's radiating out there in a big space, you know.
I wanted to shift the energy. That was my why. Why am I doing this? At some point I wanted to ditch it. Like, I don't want to be an Instagram manager. I don't want to be feeding this. I don't want to be here. And so I was like, why am I here? And it's like, my why was like, you are here to shift the energy.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of my friends, a lot of people like you guys, you and other like spiritual conscious business, they wouldn't go on it because it's good. And I want to shift that good into like, we have the most powerful tool to spread our energy, light, message let's use it. Otherwise, we leave more space for the girl, and it's never gonna change. Like it's a shifting of energy. And again, I'm only one, but everyone can make a difference. And eventually, I'm hoping to train a lot of social media manager that want to do, because I cannot manage all the account. I'm only one person. I'd like to have an army of Instagram manager that help people.
Yeah. And going back on things you've shared about the things that you've done, a lot of them revolve around teaching. So I feel that you have a very powerful energy around teaching and people.
I keep putting, like, my own universe keep putting me back. Okay, now you have to teach this, and now you have to teach this. I say, okay, so I have to teach. So I got that.
Yeah, you have to put that beautiful balance in.
And the other thing that's a very strong message now is, like, when things get a bit overwhelming, or you don't always appreciate why you're doing something that, why you're doing something, is it's very important for people to stay in the room.
I lost you again. I'm sorry.
You're back now. Can you hear us, darling? We can hear you. But you have your picture. You're on a beautiful smiley face.
Yes.
There you go.
We've got you back.
I didn't hear. I just hear like a lot of
mumble. We were just saying how important it is. Like, sometimes when you don't feel like doing what you're doing, how important. But there is that mission, or that intuitive feeling of you have a purpose. How important it is at the moment in these times for to stay in the room, for conscious people, or people who shift the space to stay in the room, because we need that right now so much.
More than ever,
Oh, yes. Very much.
So we do have our very last question, which we will get onto, because our Wi-Fi is not
playing the game
today. How do you see the world through Luciana's eyes now?
Oh, that's a huge question.
I can see color.
I call it Lululand when people like ask me, "Hey, are you listening?" I say, "Oh no, I was in Lululand."
We love that. We love Lululand.
Luciana's land is okay.
While you're thinking, can you just share with us, because you did share with us at the beginning about how people used to call you Lulu as an abbreviation, and then you came back to your name because why?
So Lulu, I love it. I still love it. But people start to call me Lulu in a moment of my life that I was very lost. I always, up to that point, I thought I was going to work in resort village. How do you call it? Resort for the rest of my life. I was really good at the job. I loved it so much. But I just, I was turned because of some practice behind the scenes that weren't so, so ethical, or not so aligned with what I believed. And, go, we were always awake until night. Eventually I could see myself like just getting wrecked by that. Some disappointment anyway. And then I didn't want to do the job I studied for. I study as I'm a translator and an interpreter. In English and Arabic.
Oh, wow. That's a beautiful language. Wow. Complex.
Yes. Very complex. And I didn't want to do that. So I said, I studied this many years for this. I don't want to do it. I don't want to be doing this resort job anymore. And so off I went, being a barista for a while. And also lost. And the owner of the coffee shop I was working for, he named me Lulu. Like, that was my nickname. And I was the lostest Luciana ever, trying to find my path. And I stayed because I really liked it. It was cute, and people in Australia couldn't quite say Luciana, so they say, "Oh, call me Lulu." And they won't say Lulu, they'll say Lulu. Which is put me down another tone that wasn't that Lulu.
Yeah.
It was Lulu.
Yeah.
And I stayed in there for a long time, and I was fine with it, and I'm still fine. People still call me Lulu. I don't really mind, but I just wanted to step up in the vibration of Luciana, which is light, which is actually means light, which is it came out actually during a healing that I'd done with LOE, which is a shamanic healer in Byron Bay. And she saw my heart, like she described it as a citrine crystal. So like she said, so much light. It's like it's ridiculous. Like, and in that moment, I remember that people used to call me light, like Luce in Italian instead of Luciana. Luce, which means actually like the light, and or sun. And it's like, oh, when you enter the room, everything brighten up. Like, and I felt I was really hiding there for a long time because I felt it was too much. I was, you know, especially since I moved to New Zealand, I've been too loud because here people are very quiet and polite.
Yeah.
And so I was the loud Italian, and I was too much. And so I tuned down, and I decided that I'm not doing that anymore. I'm getting my name back, and I'm shining my light back, because this healer told me, like, the world really needs your light. You are doing a disservice to the world, hiding your light and dimming your light. And she said, shine as bright as you want, and you can, because we really need this. And I just felt like, wow, that was with me all the time. And I just, and this is what happened. Like, this is why I decided to, because I was gonna do Lulu Wayfarer, like my account, and everyone knows me as Lulu, so it's gonna get confusing. Just like really owning that light and being brave enough to be. They can call me too loud, too bright. I don't care anymore. Like, this is who I am. I'm not gonna hide any longer.
That's so beautiful. And Luciana is such a beautiful name.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's very beautiful to hear the story behind that, because how many times do we get told, or just the feeling, like when we're vibrationally sensitive, which we all are, you know, that feeling of being too much, and really it's just that open heart and love wanting to pour out and express,
just being who you are.
Yeah. So yes.
So what do you see next for us, or next for you, or next for the world?
Yes.
I don't know if it's I see it or it's a big hope. I'm really hoping that we're going to simplify our lives, slow down, go back to the earth, reconnect with Mother Earth, and just relearn the way. The way that we know, the real, like the normal life, which is not rushing around like crazy chicken all over. It is like planting our own food and drinking clean water, taking care of our kids, not like, oh, I can't be bothered, or you know, it's like we want to make this big difference, and then yet we don't have time for our own families. And that's where I think the biggest change can happen. Reconnecting, recreating the villages, and I don't want to say to go back, because we're having a conversation with my husband the other day. I don't think we go back to it. It's not going back. It's creating this new reality with all the knowledge we have, integrating the technology and all the beautiful things that we have learned into a more human life. We are not made for this rush, for this multitasking, for this endless screen time. We need connection. We need to be together, and we need to dance, to do art, to swim in the healing waters, and none of us does enough of it.
So true.
And we all need to do it, because when I'm healing, you are healing. if we all do it together, it's gonna be, and this is why I think lately has been faster, because I think more people are doing this work right now.
Yeah.
And so we are healing faster.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It gives me a
And the collective consciousness.
And when we're doing these things, we don't crave the false things like the alcohol, the stimulants, the things that make us feel high or whatever. We have this natural endocannabinoid system, the natural highs that come alive. Our divinity kicks in, and we feel happy because we're doing things that enliven us.
Yeah, something that hasn't been interesting me for a very long time. I used to, when I was a teenager, or party and get high, drinking. I don't do that. And some of my people think like, oh no, you became so boring, Lulu. Like you don't drink any. I don't drink anymore. I don't do all of that. It's not because I don't have fun. I don't need that to feel happier. Or to numb whatever I needed to numb at the time, or to feel more open. Like I don't need that. And that's why. And actually, I really it's almost like grosses me. I just don't need it. I don't want it anymore, and just not my thing. Like, and I also it doesn't work with the healing. I even I stopped drinking coffee as well. It just wouldn't match with the healing things. I can't go into a healing when I'm on coffee or those intoxicating, if you want to call it, substances, and
changing your vibration.
Doesn't match my vibration anymore. Like, oh, sorry.
Oh, it's beautiful. So that's kind of like the whole wish for the world. It's saying is for us all to find our frequency through simplifying life and getting connected.
Trust. My key words that came from this talk is trust. And simplify. And surrender to the flow, because I like the flow is the water.
I like that. That's a beautiful way is to round it off.
Is your pendant a whale tail on your tail?
Of course it is.
I thought so.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It's got a whale on my ring as well.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
It's from an Australian singer. He made it this collection. Ziggy Albert, I'm sure you know it. Yes.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's really beautiful. Thank you so much, Luciana, for coming on our Girl Awakening podcast. It's been an honor to have you with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
We've loved every moment. It's been really beautiful.
Yeah, we're feeling a lot of joy, and we just both want to go jump in the ocean now.
Do it.
Thank you so much, and
we'll share everything in the links on the comments on the Spotify and on the YouTube. Find a bit more about you and connect.
Yeah, that'd be so cool. I'm just doing this new thing now, the healing art, and I'm so excited. So that would be nice to connect with new people that wanted to jump on that offer, which is healing through the art. So doing energy healing and commissioning a piece of watercolor art that I'll send it to them. They can just have it there to always.
Oh, we love that.
So it's like a channeling from the healing session that you bring through.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Well, we'll pop
That's my favorite thing.
I love that. I think a lot of that's coming through more and more too now, the resonance. But we'll pop all that on the bottom of the podcast so people can link up onto your Instagram and website.
Thank you, beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.